Alright, what's going on guys? Vegan here, and I'm back again after a couple week break. Today we're going to be covering the topic of Pacific Rim versus Godzilla, mainly because I feel like this is a topic that hasn't been thoroughly answered in 5 years. So I want to go through it because I feel like there's a lot of things about certain characters that people overlook. Now, before we get into today's topic, I want to say that I am very proud of how well my King Kong 19100 destruction video was. It gained a lot of traction, it got a lot of love, got a lot of support, I got a lot of, I'm just really proud of that video and I want to say thank you. And, as we all know, King Kong 19100 is triggered as all hell, which is amazing. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into the topic. First things first, I feel like a lot of people really downplay and don't give a lot of credit to the Pacific Rim Jaegers or kaiju because all they do is just look at their weight and height and think, oh yeah, well, Godzilla and all the monsters could probably kick his ass. When there's a lot more feats and a lot more to these creatures, So we all know what you came here for. You want to know if Gypsy Danger and maybe a few other Jaegers with him can actually defeat Godzilla. So to answer that question, we need to go back to the original Pacific Rim and look at the kaiju in that movie in order to scale Gypsy off of them. So first we need to look at a kaiju Trespasser. It's hard to know what category of kaiju he is because the kaiju categories does measure the danger levels of each of the kaiju, and obviously category 5s are a lot more powerful than category 3s, so we need to know what category Trespasser is. So it's said that he is comparable to other category 2s. He was never given an official category, but saying that he's comparable to other category 2 kaiju, let's just say he's around a category 2's level of power. And he, just being a category 2, was able to create a magnitude 7.1 earthquake from moving along the ocean floor. He ripped apart the Golden Gate Bridge and completely shrugged off anything except for 3 tactical nukes, which are required to kill it. So it takes at least 3 nukes to kill Trespasser, or nuclear blasts. These said nukes also wiped out Oakland as a side effect. So even just these category 2 kaijus can tank nuclear blasts. Then if we move on to Knifehead, he's a category 3 kaiju, so by default he should be superior to Trespasser. And he doesn't have a lot of official statements in the films, but in the prequel book, Pacific Rim Tales from Year 1, we get more details about the kaijus and Jaegers. Knifehead fights Jaegers whose powers are directly compared to nuclear blasts, and when he battled an early Gypsy Danger at the beginning of Pacific Rim, Gypsy was able to fight on par and even kill Knifehead. So even these early category 2 and 3 kaijus are comparable to atomic blasts in power, which is, I feel like, is a lot more than most people believe and downplay them to be. And just with sheer size, these kaijus and Jaegers can reach subsonic speeds, which are faster than the eye with just their sheer size. And keep in mind, that Gypsy Danger that killed Knifehead was still a relatively early Gypsy Danger. Then, in the middle of the movie, the Jaegers, Cherno Alpha, and Crimson Typhoon went to go battle a category 4 kaiju Leatherback, who, being a category 4, should be even more powerful than Knifehead, so they would easily be able to tank nuclear blasts. and Cherno Alpha, just by himself, was able to handle Leatherback fairly easily. But then Otachi, another Category 4 and a fan favorite, came and sneak attacked Crimson Typhoon when he was off guard. And these are easily city level Jaegers, and Itachi almost dismantles him easily. And with Itachi and Leatherback, they pretty much overpower Cherno Alpha. So these Category 4s were too much for these Jaegers when they teamed up. So at this point, we're far beyond nuclear blasts, and these kaiju are even more powerful than atomic blasts and easily city level. However, that's not really comparable to even early iterations of legendary Godzilla, as he can tank multiple nukes even in his first film, which easily would equate to around 110.3 megatons, and can reach Mach speeds mid-combat. He can be at the speed of sound. Even with these casual feats, that would make Godzilla around 9 times faster and 10 times stronger and more durable than anyone from Pacific Rim I've mentioned so far. So we need to up the ante a little. Now, Itachi then headed for the city, and Striker Eureka came down for support to help out, and Leatherback used his EMP hacks to completely shut down Striker Eureka before we could even see him really in combat. So, you know the epic scene. Gypsy Danger comes down, he kills Leatherback in several blasts to the chest, and he slices Itachi in half like it's nothing. These Category 4 kaijus who could take out these other professional Jaegers in just a couple of seconds, he slices them in half and destroys both of them, which obviously shows that Gypsy is on a way higher level than the other Jaegers and kaiju. Then at the climax of Pacific Rim, Striker Eureka and Gypsy Danger go down to the breach to destroy it and close it, and they get attacked by 2 Category 4s and Category 5 Slattern, or however you pronounce it. Gypsy Danger fights off and kills the 2 Category 4s pretty easily, and Striker Eureka battles Slattern, a Category 5. He does fairly well against them, but then Striker Eureka has to self-destruct, and this self-destruct blast was so big that it pushed back a huge area of the water, and calculations have calculated the yield of this blast. You can even highball this blast to being in the gigatons of force, which is one of the most powerful nuclear weapons ever made, easily being a large mountain level of destruction. And Slattern and Gypsy Danger both were able to survive it and be in the range of it. Gypsy then goes and battles Slattern, and Slattern pretty much overpowers Gypsy, but Gypsy does blast Slattern a few times to pierce his skin and blast through him, and he survives the battle. Slattern's obviously the more powerful opponent, but Gypsy was also weakened by the 2 Category 4s earlier. Then moving on to Pacific Rim Uprising, the new Gypsy Avenger was able to battle Obsidian Fury in the middle of the movie. Even though he was getting his ass handed to him for a majority of the battle, he stood a good chance, and he was mostly distracted by saving civilians, trying to help civilians. But it is good to note that when Obsidian Fury left, he saw the other Jaegers coming, and he ran away, indicating that he does not believe that he could take on all of them at once. Gypsy Avenger then goes to fight Obsidian Fury and was able to defeat him relatively easily, despite him having more weapons. Then at the climax, the 4 Category 4s and 5 and the 5 category. The 2 4s and 5 category kaijus are let loose on Tokyo. And Gypsy Danger, November, Saber, Athena, and Titan Redeemer, all 4 of them go and battle the 2 category 4s and 5. Now, notice how this situation is a lot similar to the climax of the first Pacific Rim, where Striker Eureka and Gypsy Danger both had to go battle 2 category 4s and a 5. Now it's Gypsy and these 4 other Jaegers battling the 4s and 5 kaijus. And these relatively rookie piloted Jaegers are doing pretty well just messing around against these category 4s and 5. They're doing very noticeably better than Gypsy and Striker Eureka did. So that tells me that these Jaegers are a lot more powerful than even the more advanced ones from the last film. Then, obviously, mega-kaiju is formed by the 2 category 4s and 5 fusing with some weird nano robots. And the mega-kaiju pretty much one-shots all 3 of the new Jaegers that were handling category 4s and 5s pretty well. And Gypsy Avenger is the only one that really is able to stand even a little bit of a chance against mega-kaiju, but even then, mega-kaiju just bats him away and had to go through a bunch of pilots in order to survive. And it was stated that mega-kaiju was going to end all life on Earth by causing a chain reaction by falling in Mount Fuji and destroying basically the entire planet. He wasn't going to destroy the planet, he was going to make the surface of it almost unlivable. But even then, that would still be a multi-continental level feat if we assume that he can output that type of energy all the time, which does have evidence, as he was able to one-shot these other Jaegers that are easily large mountain level each. So mega-kaiju at most would be around continental to multi-continental levels of power. This, however, doesn't really hold up against a Aftershock and 2019 Godzilla. Even in Godzilla Awakening, Godzilla's been able to survive world-ending events such as the Permian impact and without a scratch, and he's only gotten stronger since then. So even if mega-kaiju fell in Mount Fuji right on top of Godzilla, there's evidence saying that Godzilla would be able to survive that type of attack. That feat alone would make Godzilla multi-continental. Now, I've heard people say, oh, well, that translates to durability, not strength. Well, if you know about Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, Godzilla would be able to output as much force as he can input. If Godzilla can take in that much force, he can definitely output that much force. Also, not to mention that in terms of speed, at best, the Jaegers in Pacific Rim Uprising, Gypsy Avenger was able to dodge a missile which can reach hypersonic speeds, but even casual speed feats that I've heard from others, Godzilla can approach the speed of light, so he's gonna speed blitz the Jaegers. Even if you want to say mega-kaiju is bigger than Godzilla, mega-kaiju is only like 1.06 times larger than Godzilla. While Godzilla is 13 times heavier, has been shown to tank his most. Mega-kaiju at his most power output, Godzilla's been able to tank There's nothing that mega-kaiju, or let alone any other Jaeger or kaiju, could do to Godzilla. I suppose maybe if the aliens made a special type of kaiju that can absorb all of Godzilla's radiation and overpower him eventually, that's just hypothetical at that point. Not to mention that in King of the Monsters, Godzilla can reach the potential of being on a planetary level scale, which is far beyond anything in the Pacific Rim universe. But despite that, the Jaegers and the kaiju are far more powerful than I think people give them credit for. I hope I proved something today. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And if you guys have any other input about this topic, please comment it, and I'll see you in the next video.